Hello, Powerhouse Smart friends and colleagues. Wendy Cohen here. I am once again honored to have an amazing colleague that I feel very near and dear to in my network and in my world, Claire Staszak, principal and owner of Center by Design. And I always like to have my guests, like Claire, introduce herself because we can hear from her and then I can ask questions where we can learn more about her story. And as a reminder, this is all about me selecting leaders in our design build industry, real estate industry that believe in collaboration, live with an attitude of gratitude, and we all care about helping humanity. So without further ado, I'm so honored to have you, Claire. Please take the proverbial microphone and
Mhm.
introduce yourself and share.
Hi, Wendy. Thank you for having me. And hi, everyone out there. It's nice to be with you. So I own Centered by Design. We are a high-end residential firm. We're based in Chicago and the North Shore. But we work all over, have a lot of projects these days in Hinsdale and a few out of state as well. So we're a team of about seven, and we really love historic architecture. We love cabinetry and millwork details, and of course, we love furnishings and wallpaper and really all of it. But we definitely have a focus on restoring older homes as well as building new homes, but having them feel storied and timeless.
Oh, thank you for that great overview. Yeah, you definitely have a special niche, which I want to dive into a little bit here. But before we get into that, maybe share with us, like you're so young and you're so successful. Like, how do share with everybody? How did you make this happen?
Well, thanks, Wendy. I don't feel young these days, especially coming off my 29-year-old sister's wedding. But I I had a first career in marketing and, talking about helping humanity. I was very dedicated to nonprofits when I graduated from college, and I worked for Habitat for Humanity out in San Francisco. And I've always loved Habitat as an organization. And looking back, I find it really funny that my favorite volunteer activity was building houses, yet I never thought about becoming a designer. Um, so Habitat played a big role in my life, kind of as like what I enjoyed doing to give back to the community. I ended up doing a year of service. Like a lot of people would know it as AmeriCorps, kind of like the domestic Peace Corps. I was placed in San Francisco. I worked for Habitat for Humanity. Um, and then I ended up coming back to Chicago, where I'm from, and working in different kind of marketing and communication roles, but always feeling like I needed something more creative in my life, and that my jobs, although they involved creativity, they weren't, nothing just ever felt like the right fit. And so there's a long story, but basically, eventually, I decided to go back to school for interior design in my late 20s. I was actually 29, and I went to Harper College in Palatine and got a certificate in kitchen and bath design and basically like an associate's degree in interior design. And because I was older, I think a lot of people were interested in having me as an intern because I was a grown up. And so I interned for some big design firms and names, including, people in our area might know Kate Marker Interiors and Nate Burkus. And um, I think I just knew when I started that I was going to have my own business. But yeah, a couple things sort of along the way in those smaller experiences just led me to go out on my own. My husband and I bought our first home and we're doing it together. And then I just started taking on clients, and it's really grown from there with the help of social media. Great collaborations with, I work pretty specifically with a few GCs who, we've kind of grown our businesses together. Um, and yeah, I think finding great team members, and I've been very savvy with press and all these other things that kind of I think help elevate your brand and make you, you know, maybe stand out a little more than the next person.
Yeah, so you say you graduated or you went back to design when you were 29. That's still really young, especially as we know the next generation. I mean, a lot of these kids are, experimenting with a lot of different careers before they actually figure out where they want to spend the majority of their time. So, and I remember I had you as a speaker at like one of our very first luxury conferences. You
Mm-hmm.
were just
Oh, long.
about how you were really seen as an influencer very early on. And did you have a journalism background? I mean, you're so natural in your social media and all your interviews, etc.
I Yeah, I did study one of my degrees was in journalism. So I think the blog writing came kind of naturally to me and communications in general, right? Like my background is more marketing and communications focused. So I think that was a really great part of my education and brief career history and just sort of my natural talent that help propel that part of the business forward, which like we all know how important marketing and social media are these days. And I think there's just a lot of different ways to do business in this industry. And I mean, I I would love to not have to be on social media sometimes. And of course, a lot of our work is referral based, but if you just don't have this like massive network, or, I feel like kind of the olden days of just there's only so many designers and, it's just like everybody's a designer. So, like, you've really got to be out there kind of making some noise, or it's hard to get clients, I think, no matter how good you are.
Yeah, but I do think, especially in your case, you just are you separate yourself, Claire. I mean, you first of all, you don't follow any trends. You truly do want to be timeless, and I love your commitment to historic restoration, and we'll talk about that in a minute. And so yes, you're right. There are a lot of designers, but the ones that the cream that rises to the top, and people like you, number one, believe in and finding good other colleagues to collaborate with and sharing that, and you have done that from very early on, and that you do really separate yourself and follow your own path. So so one of the things that I know, two things. One is we talked about maybe you having a coffee table book. And then we also talked about you starting with your studio in downtown Chicago, living downtown Chicago, and now branching into a new market, which is not that far, really, but it is. It's a new audience. So talk about that a little, please.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think just coming off that social media conversation, I mean, what I will say is incredible about social media and like living in this time period is the opportunity that it affords. And so, of course, my background's in journalism. I think many designers hope to have a book one day. I definitely always had that as a little dream. And I mean, I got an email out of the blue from an editor just saying, like, would you be interested in writing a book? And many designers, I think these days we really are influencers to what people are purchasing. And so, there's just a lot of opportunity there. And there's a lot of opportunity if you have your own following to sell a lot of books. And so, yes, that's a very exciting thing that we're working on. And I think the book will be out in 2027. And it has a working title that has to do with, my love of historic homes and or decorating in this historic and timeless way. And so that's a very exciting opportunity. And then yes, we still have, I'm in Chicago, our Chicago location right now. And then when I moved up to the North Shore, I thought it would be great to have another little office up there. The commute definitely isn't super fun. And I have little kids, so I wanted to be able to have some flexibility. And yes, we're excited to kind of infiltrate the North Shore a little bit more and have people know who we are and that yeah, we really work sort of all over the Chicagoland area. And for our clients that are moving or have second homes, we're always often happy to go where they need us to go.
Yeah, I noticed it on your Instagram that you definitely have some projects in other states. But did you end up opening that studio, that little studio in Glencoe?
I did. Mhm.
Okay, and how's that going?
Yeah, it's going great. It's so cute and it's lovely to have an additional meeting space for clients. And my husband also started his own business. He is a test prep, ACT, SAT sort of college readiness advisor. So he also uses the space, and it's been really great for our family. We are going to try this summer to maybe like have the doors open and have some more regular hours. I think it's been hard for people to get to know who we are because I just don't really have, it's not a store. And so it's a little bit of a kind of a tough business model. I would love eventually to be able to open more of a real shop.
Yeah, yeah, no, that sounds great. And then, gosh, I'm just thinking about all the things you have your fingers in. So we can't forget your wallpaper line. I'm going to Paris next week for a wedding, and I was saying,
Oh,
oh,
you are?
yeah,
Oh, that's so fun.
yeah, yeah, we're doing the Fat Tire bike tour in Versailles, and yeah,
Wow.
yeah, we have a wedding, so there'll be some days already occupied. But I said, oh, I'm going to be talking to Claire. I'm going to Paris. I want to hear about her wallpaper line. How's that going?
Yes, so that was another, again, like very exciting opportunity that I think, results from being very collaborative and also having a social media following. So I had a friend from design school who was French, and she was connected to this wallpaper company, and they were looking for interior designers to give paper to. I ended up using one of their beautiful papers, which was a mural of Paris at night in the Lake Forest Show House in 20, was that two years ago, so maybe it was 2023 show house. And it was very successful, and so we sort of developed this relationship, and they were looking to break in further to the US market, and so we decided to design a collection of papers together. I got to work with these amazing artists, got to go to France several times. I got to creative direct the photo shoot. So yes, now the paper is selling. Anyone can purchase it. The company is called Isidore Leroy. It looks like Isidore Leroy. It's pronounced Isidore Leroy. And they have amazing wallpapers that are actually quite a very reasonable price point, and anybody can purchase directly online.
Wow, wow. So Claire, really, come on, all of these things, and again, we sat down and we started talking before we turned on to join this podcast, and we're just catching up and everything, and then this is just unraveling in front of me, like all these things that you're doing, and it's just, they just come so natural to you, and they're, you're just really talk about cool leaders and someone who takes advantage of your relationships in the sense of nurturing them and really making.
Yeah, I think, that's definitely a superpower. It's just kind of really important to me. And I mean, I think I'm a great designer, but I think I'm even, better at relationships. So I think that's, everybody has that angle that works for them in their business. I mean, I cannot do QuickBooks. I can really not draw in CAD. There are plenty of things that I can't do, but yeah, I think collaboration is really one of my strong suits.
Yes, absolutely. And so we can't not touch on really briefly. I wish we had more time because clearly we could spend a long time together. But you're renovating or you're working on a project, which is not a small project, renovating your new home, that your new property that you bought in Glencoe. Talk about that briefly. Share with us.
Yeah, so we bought a beautiful 1926 Mediterranean style home in Glencoe, and I could just, see it had a lot of potential. Um, it's, it's pretty old. It had a really nice renovation in 1980, and since then it's basically been kind of untouched or may have been updated in some areas, but it really needs an overhaul. So it's quite a big project, and we're very excited, and we've been talking with different sponsors. We've talked with you, Wendy, about different ideas for businesses who might want to collaborate with us. And yeah, we've got some great sponsors on board, and we're working on our drawings and permit, and hope, the goal is that at least part of the home is in the book, or as my editor likes to say, like, don't worry, there'll be a second book and then your house can be in the second book. So we'll we'll see, how much of it gets done. Obviously, I'm trying to do that on top of running a business and being a mom. So it's last on the list most days.
Yeah, no, I understand. And, a big project like that takes years, first of all, even just getting the plans done and then
Right,
picking up
right.
the sponsors. So I'm here to help, and we look forward to having a hard hat tour there, and lots of things together through the Powerhouse community. So one of the things as we get close to our short, time together is, it's so obvious that you have done so many things to give back to humanity, but when all is said and done, Claire, you have a young family, and you just have your whole world in front of you, but yet, we're still souls having a human experience. Things happen. It's never always perfect. How can you describe living with an attitude of gratitude? How does that fit
Hmm.
in your definition?
Yeah, I mean, I think so so very many things, but I think for me it's just really being as positive as I can with both my team and my clients, sort of taking the time for those relationships. I think really that's what sort of feeds you and is able, like, that connection, whether it's in business or it's, you know, I've been really welcomed to the Glencoe Winnetka community. We joined the Chamber of Commerce. I've met some really nice people, just like having those conversations. Those always just really feed my spirit in terms of, like, not feeling alone, not feeling exhausted, or like when other people are kind of, going through the same things, whether they're at the same place in life as you are or not. And yeah, connecting with fellow business owners, my team, of course, trying to be a good mom and wife and all those things, but and exercise, I guess exercise always makes me happier and more grateful.
Yes, of course. So, to me, it sounds like what we had originally said and what we continue to say is you surround yourself with people, and it's the shared love and relationship, and, just honoring each other. And I'm very blessed, Claire, to have you in my life. We don't get to speak all the time, but we come in and out, things yin and
Mhm.
and I'm always blessed when I get to spend some time with you. So,
Oh, thanks, Wendy.
yeah,
Yeah, well, thank you so much. And I think I'm always amazed at how many things you are juggling, and podcasts and events and multiple businesses. So yeah, I only hope I can do as many things.
yes, we'll try to do as much as we can together. I'm sending you love. Kiss those beautiful children and your husband. And
Thank you. Have so much fun in Paris.
oh, okay, thanks. I'll talk to you
Mhm.
afterwards. And you're going to be
Yes.
a speaker at an upcoming event, and I'm going to invite you to the Love
Yes.
conference too to be a speaker. Okay,
Okay.
we'll talk soon. All right.
Bye, Wendy. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you. Okay.